Lovers in its reversal in combination with our Two of Pentacles in its upright. Let's talk about it. Um, yeah. So there's something that we're going to start seeing, and I'm sure, like, listen, we've got a bunch of big transits that are happening in a couple weeks. I want to talk about them to give a little bit of an explanation of what I'm seeing here. Remember how I said like 2025 is like honoring your no to a certain extent? A lot of this is what I'm seeing is, and I got to stress this, we've got a ridiculous amount of planets right now in Aries. We've had this for a while. Now, finally, we're starting to have a little bit of this energy moving, like moving out of this, moving away from Aries. But and I want to say, I think to a certain extent, that is a positive thing because it's working through frustration, but not allowing the frustration to bear down on you. It's allowing the frustration to be productive. It's putting it in a positive place. Because here's the thing, everything is a gift, right? Even frustration. And I know you're probably feeling frustrated to hear that, but it's true because frustration can motivate us, right? We see this a lot with manifestation. We talk about the fact that often manifestation isn't about taking more on. It's recognizing what one needs to let go of, what feels like it's the hindrance point, what feels like it's holding one back. Sometimes this is self-limiting beliefs. Sometimes this is working out like a bad feeling that we carry, right? It's like the vibe check. And I think to a certain extent, like that's the thing about this. I want to describe this. Like I feel like to a certain extent, this Scorpio full moon in Libra is about like passing the vibe check. it's like, and what do we mean by passing the vibe check? It's identifying and recognizing it's not just conditional. When you're passing the vibe check, it's not conditional on the vibe that you find. It's what you effectively do with it, right? It's moving into that space of being constructive. It's identifying and recognizing the force of progress. And that's not that space, right? Like that's not the space that you dwell on things, right? Because when you dwell on things, like when the vibes are off and you dwell on them, you don't change. You're not in a space of being able to change something, right? We talked a lot about the fact that this Scorpio full moon is all about releasing bitterness, right? That when we work through a space of trauma, we can't control the trauma that we experience, but how we carry it, how we choose to carry it is defined by having it work in service of the self, right? Trying to do something with it, trying to work in place of improving the self versus coming into those spaces of rigidity where we harbor feelings that feel like they don't move us into a space of being able to find our happiness, to find our joy, right? And that ability of understanding. We've also talked a lot about the fact that a lot of the healing of the space of trauma isn't waiting for trauma to be let go of, right? We've been working through the hard lesson that the trauma is never healed from. We never let go of trauma. If it was as easy as letting go of trauma, it wouldn't be trauma. Trauma is the pain that sticks. But when we build an altar to it, right? That when we allow for the appreciation of how something changed us, it changes our perspective in allowing ourselves to be able to be functional through it. It allows us that ability of being able to find that point of productivity, helping to release regret, helping not to harbor unhealthy feelings. Because that bitterness, like, right? Like what is bitterness? But the poison we give ourselves for the trauma that we experience that eats us away, eats us up from within. So that ability of, again, bitter, not better, not bitter, like working into that space of trying to be able to feel that energetic motivation point. This is what fortifies us. This is how we find ourselves. But that's not easy, right? Because we've also talked about the fact that a good spiritual journey isn't one that's just indulgent upon making one feel good, right? If you turn to spirituality just to feel good and you avoid the work, that's an addiction. Okay? Like I just got to point that out, right? If you look towards spirituality just to feel good, but not identifying that that's where the work begins, that's the characteristic of an addiction. A good spiritual journey is not one that is indulgent upon the self. It helps one recognize what one needs to do to be able to come into a better version of self. So we see even now that a lot of that work happening across the frequencies, right? It's the adaptation point of recognizing and identifying, working upon not just what feels good, but what is good. We're also seeing here, also doing a lot of that work as it relates to the space of the emotions, understanding that honoring the emotions is not just doing whatever the emotions feel like doing all the time, because the emotions are like children, right? And sometimes we talked about this is why we have to be kind. We have to be careful. We honor our emotions by listening to them, because sometimes the emotions come up to us and say, I would like a sandwich. I would like a glass of water. And we give the emotions the things that they're asking for. And sometimes the emotions come up and say, I would like 4 gallons of gasoline and a pack of matches. And then we go, wait, what are you going to do with that? Come back here. Okay, come back here. So the ability to listen, the ability to observe, the ability to recognize and understand that our emotions hold on to things because they feel a lot of them. And sometimes we even build a lot of emotions in the spaces of trauma. That ability to talk to our emotions, to understand what the emotions are asking for, it helps us understand the emotions have demands, but they don't hold the map. We hold the energetic map. And so that ability, I keep on seeing that I keep on hearing this is a lot of map making that's happening right now, because there's a lot of that energy that we're recognizing and identifying that is setting the path for themselves as it relates to identifying and recognizing the changes in order to kind of bring into the space of identifying what it is that they're trying to work upon. This is fundamental right now for the energy in separation. One card to clarify. There's that 2. Wow. There's that 2 of Swords again. You'll recall, if you were following along yesterday, this was our bottom of the deck, and it was in its reversal. Okay. And I keep on seeing here that there's a lot of energy right now in separation that's understanding that you don't come out of separation when you stop feeling something. Like, this is some energy here. And this is why I think that there's something fundamental that's important here. It's not the space. Like, when we move out of separation, we don't say, okay, it's fine. I'll just move out of separation when I stop feeling this way. It's not about the fact of not feeling. It's about recognizing and identifying how you carry what you feel, right? And this is why I keep on seeing there's a lot of energy right now that is in some deep, deep healing in relationality to building into healthy energetic partnerships. Because I already see this is energy already hashing out the feelings that another has as it relates to past relationships. And what I'm seeing here, and this is beautiful with these double 2s, right? This is the work of Jupiter and Gemini. This is the work of identifying a heart that works. Is this energy that is denying the fact that they're not having feelings about something from the past? No. Who would do that? That's wild. This is the energy that is observing, and again, understanding the ability of being able to honor the feelings that you hold for something, but also recognizing what is and is not healthy for the self, right? That is not the energy. And that's not, like I keep on hearing, this is what I'm like, this is the energy that is in when we come into acceptance and articulation of our feelings. It doesn't require us to be in a space of denial. It allows for the observation of being able to articulate something that is energetically complicated. So that's what I see that's beautiful right now for a lot of this energy right now in separation, because they're articulating upon the energetic complication that occurs with a life where we build energetic connections with others. They're not avoiding those conversations. They're not saying, I don't want to talk about it. They're parsing through it. They're working through the threads. They're showing each other the complications, but also in a way, and in the space of being able to do so, what are they creating for one another? The safety. When we are able to understand and identify the complication of the threads that we bring into relationship, we create a safety net in the relationship. Because that safety net is the identification of being able to identify and recognize why we feel energetically connected to things without feeling the need to run straight back towards them because there's some kind of energetic connection. So I keep on seeing that there's a lot of this energy building into that context, because it is the understanding of the relationships surrounding the self, even if they're in spaces of moving away from something that did not feel like it was in alignment to the self. Now, continuing to get clarification between our fourth and fifth cards in our 5-card spread. This one was popping up in the bottom of the deck. I'm not surprised to see it. We've got our Temperance in its reversal, fifth card here. Here's that 4 of Wands in its reversal. This is a lot of that work. This is a lot of that fundamental work that we're seeing right now for the energy deep within divine union, coming into divine union. You'll recall these are the Chariot partnerships that are coming into deeper union because of the solid stabilization point of the ground that they create for one another. And what are they identifying? What happens when we reach a higher ground? We see things we couldn't see before, right? But what's beautiful about a lot of this energy, I keep on seeing that Scorpio full moon was allowing for a lot of energy to shift. What were they shifting? They were shifting their perception. They were shifting into the new reality of the relationship. Because again, we cannot sometimes recognize the trauma we carry until we reach a point of energetic stabilization where we see things that we couldn't see before. And that's hard. That's difficult. It's not about liking everything that you see there. This is energy that's finding wisdom, and they're wincing every step of the way because it's hard to look at. But that ability of seeing something and not rushing back to it, this is why the energy is having a breakthrough. Because when we have a heart opening and we start reacting to it, right? We start projecting it outwards. That is a breakdown, right? That is tower energy. But when we experience something and we see something that we couldn't see before and we articulate through it, that is a breakthrough. That is the ability of not projecting, but being able to observe and navigate what one is feeling. That is the definition of the heart opening that moves through the heart and throat chakra instead of reacting into it. Continuing to get clarification for the energy deep within divine union right now between our Lovers card, but it's not easy. I need to stress this. You can see a lot of that volatility that's occurring there, but this is the energy that's like working through a lot of feelings that they didn't know that are arriving because of the observation of something that they could not see before. Continuing to get clarification here between our Lovers card in its reversal in combination with our 2 of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify. Page of Wands in its reversal. There's a lot of inner child healing that's happening right now for the energy deep within divine union. And that's having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. And a lot of that work I keep on seeing has to do with, I just keep on identifying, this is the energy, and I'm not surprised to see it, feminine coming into a space of, it's interesting because it feels very much like feminine is going through a unification moment. Feeling very energetically unified, feeling very, very focused upon recognizing and identifying and working through something in a way of finding the stabilization point as it relates to one's own sense of confidence. But also I keep on seeing that there's a lot of that energy that is working in that way, because this is the energy that is in, I keep on hearing, this is the energy that is in a space where they're having the identification point of recognizing the value and power of being in relationship that honors, I keep on hearing, that honors their displeasure, that honors their distaste, right? Because it's not just the space or place of feeling like that point of having to be energetically adaptable at every moment, but that ability of being very, I keep on seeing, there's a lot of clearing of the throat chakra that's happening for feminine right now, deep within divine union, because that ability of finding one's voice or being able to articulate upon something, it feels like it is integral because it's the feminine very much in a protective modality. So this is interesting because this is feeling very Queen of Swords. Masculine energy, I see masculine energy much more in a space of coming into a space of reclamation. I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the masculine energy, the ability to articulate upon their feelings, the ability to be able to feel that emotions are not anthemic to the journey of being masculine, that in fact, when we articulate to masculine that emotions are anthemic, we don't give them the ability to become strong within them because they're just trying to suppress them. I see that there's a lot of the masculine energy working through the vulnerability of not having the opportunity to express something in that way, right? There's a lot of I want to describe this like there's vulnerability here, but it's the vulnerability of feeling like someone who was too fragile to navigate their emotions tried to teach you something that didn't give you the opportunity to find your own strength in something here. So that's what I keep on seeing is happening, because there's a lot of masculine energy right now doing that work, orienting on the past, or the energetic, like the difference. I keep on hearing the difference between someone claiming that they're strong because they avoid something versus the strength it takes to confront something is what I keep on seeing. Continuing to get clarification between our Two of Pentacles in combination with our Two of Swords. Heavy on the twos right now, especially with the Temperance card out too. We've got here our Knight of Pentacles in its reversal. This is interesting because I feel like there's a lot of emotionality that I'm picking up upon right now, especially for masculine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. Deep within divine union. I just keep on seeing that there's a lot of this. It's the energy, the heart opening that was happening for the energy coming into divine union is now happening for the energy deep within divine union. And for a lot of that masculine energy, the ability to articulate upon one's emotions, the ability to talk about where one's heart is, talking about something that's very important. I just keep on seeing everything you guys see. It's like every time I talk about heart opening, it's like Superman energy because I go like this. But that's the thing about it. It's talking about how difficult it is to be energetically vulnerable. That work isn't. I keep on hearing the opposite of bravado. Right? Because bravado isn't strong. Bravado is like leaning on the egoic self. Stoicism is heart opening, because stoicism is not about working towards like the perception of the self that you're trying to project. It's being able to welcome and accept the person that you are. So there's a lot of that energy that is working upon that identification point, not striving for that point outside the self, but finding it within. For feminine energy right now, clarification between our Two of Swords in its upright and our Temperance card in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify? Well, I knew she was coming out. High Priestess in its reversal. Yeah, like feminine is more in the same way, but the heart opening feels more like pillar energy. The heart opening feels more like the feminine becoming stronger in the self, right? It's more of the feminine being like, I said what I said. It's the feminine being more in that space of finding the energetic confidence in relationality to following their intuition, but also being able to recognize and identify and articulate upon something that has meaning. So I told you, especially like it's interesting because I want to point this out. You stick the high priestess. There's a deep connection to the high priestess and the Two of Swords. I talk about this a lot in my classes. So this is a lot of the energy of the feminine that is not feeling the anxiety as it relates to articulating upon how they feel. This is a lot of the feminine energy that is also doing that work and not setting the expectation outside of the self, but within, because this is a lot of the feminine energy where the inside meets the outside, right? Because the interesting thing is often energy in high priestess mode looks in the terrestrial plane like the Two of Swords. It's like, that's a lot of that energy, right? It's like good librarian energy, which is like, you can't come in here. You can't come in here like that. Like you can't, like it's working in that space of protectiveness, or working in that space of articulating and defining and feeling that energetic point of strength by being able to be I keep on hearing, being able to recognize and identify and put one's weight upon something, but also not worrying. I keep on seeing like finding that point of strength that doesn't worry so much about how others feel about them, but more concentrating on the perspective of what one is feeling, like what one is finding within the self, right? It's like a lot of that finding the voice is what I'm seeing. Continuing to get clarification between our Temperance card in its reversal in combination with our Four of Wands in its reversal. Boom, there's that World card. Let's talk a little bit about the energy right now coming into Divine Union. I got to stress something I'm noticing that's happening right now. We've had several cards. The next cards have been the bottom of the deck that have been sticking to the table. So there's a lot of talking about, there's a lot of unconscious right now. There's talking about things in the unconscious space, talking about the energetic, talking about the I'm not surprised yet. No wonder. We've got Pluto in retrograde. So Pluto in retrograde is like, there's a lot of working right now on healing intimacy wounds. That's what this Pluto in retrograde is going to be all about. It's about the inside that matches the outside. It's like inside out kind of energy, because it's the ability of when we're in that space of working on healing intimacy wounds, it's uncomfortable, right? Like this is the problem with intimacy wounds. It feels icky. It feels hard to discuss. It feels painful, especially if you carry trauma in those spaces. But when you're able to have an uncomfortable conversation, but you do so in a way that feels like it fortifies, feels like it heals, it becomes like the healing. It becomes the strength point. It becomes the sustainability point. Because that's keep on seeing that like a lot of this Scorpio full moon has been about releasing things that are not healthy to carry. And that's bitterness, right? That's healing, that's shame, that's working out of the space of experiencing trauma and moving it into a space, because when we articulate upon these things, we heal them because they allow for a space of being able to give them air, right? Like I like to point out, like I keep on reading this Pluto retrograde as like, what happens like when you lift a rock, you know what I mean? Like what happens when you lift a rock? It's like, what's in like under there? But then, right? Like it allows for that space of something to become energetically clear. It allows for that space of adaptability, allows for that space of energetic openness. So when you're able to do the work in healing and articulating upon the unconscious, what do you find there? A heart opening. It's not so bad, right? Like it's the buildup, it's the anxiety. But when you do it, like, oh, it feels good to get that off my chest. Now, for masculine and feminine energy, we got two cards. Yeah, and again, you see what keeps on happening? We've got this one coming out too now. So for the energy coming into divine union, this is why the part, like this is why the energy, this is why I keep on hearing the higher self, like the conversations internally for a lot of the energy coming into divine union, going, why couldn't I see this before? And what is the higher self saying? Baby, you weren't ready to. You can't heal on a battlefield. I can't show you an energetic wound you're carrying if you're just trying to energetically survive, right? This is why the unconscious like holds things for us until the moment that we're ready to energetically heal them. Because that is how that is how the energetic body keeps oneself safe. Like you get like okay, all right, we're good. Yes, now, okay, there, right? It's that ability of being able to handle the note. It's being able to recognize something that one couldn't see before. And so for a lot of the energy, that ability of coming into higher ground, the ability to energetically heal from something, creating that space of being able to see something that one couldn't see before, I keep on hearing it's working through the devastation and exaltation of understanding. And this is why if you ask this energy right now coming into divine union, how are you doing? Everything's great. How are you feeling? Couldn't be worse. Couldn't be worse. Why? Because the energy is in a space where they're finally in a point of stabilization that they can address something that they couldn't see before. And the first thing you say is, ow, right? Now, this brings us to the energy in separation. For a lot of the energy in separation, there's that Justice card in its reversal. We're going to be talking about the Justice card. It's in the same go look at the Substack, go look at the photo from yesterday's spread, almost the same exact position that this card was in yesterday. Okay? I'm not surprised to see it because I told you I feel like a lot of the energy right now that's deep within divine union is moving into justice energy, trying to build into balance. For the energy right now, and here's the funny thing about it, I just need to stress this, and this is why I'm going to laugh for a minute. The energy deep within divine union right now is all about the balance. The energy in separation, what is the energy in separation saying? No balance. Why is the energy in separation saying no balance? Because this is the energy that's building into authentic partnership. I told you, this is magician energy. They're looking for authenticity. They're working in the space of authenticity. And this is not the energy that is working to please energetic counterpart. Neither is that balance for the energy deep within divine union, because you recall the balance that they're trying to articulate and identify is what they need to change within and without as it relates to moving towards manifestation goals. But for the energy in separation, like the energy deep within divine union is like balance, balance, balance. And then the energy right now in separation is like, you know what you can do with your balance. You know what you can do with your balance right now. Why? Because the energy in separation is healing from relationships where they feel that they were being heavily judged. Because that was, I told you, a lot of that energy is healing from whim relationships, understanding and working through the lesson that something that's good but inconsistent is worse than something that is just bad and predictable. Because when something is good and inconsistent, it is the worst thing, because you can't predicate upon what you'll expect, but you're afraid to move away from it because you don't want to miss it. So it leaves you in a space of continual anticipation. It fries your nervous system. So we see that for a lot of the energy working in that space, recognizing and identifying in this is why that the energy that doesn't look towards a relationship, they don't look to someone they want to be with and say whatever it takes. Because when you look at someone on the outside and you say whatever it takes to be with them, you create an energetic imbalance. You immediately are agreeing to something that feels like it's energetically imbalanced. It's not about looking towards new partnership and saying whatever it takes. It's the energy that says, take me as I am. Right? Because when we're building into healthy relationship in separation, if we're good with who we are, right? If we appreciate, we understand our energetic assignments, and everything you see is intentional. And if someone comes towards you and they look at you with aversion and they're like, I don't like that. You know, the thing you say in separation is, oh, I won't do that anymore. Like, that's wild. Like you say, well, that's obviously we're not for each other. Have a nice day. Have a nice day. And so this is why I see there's like a lot of this energy right now. And I got to tell you, there's like a little bit, I want to describe it. It feels like there's challenging conversations, right? Like there's a little bit of this energy, like the energy right now, like it feels a little bit like spark plug energy in separation, because in the ability of finding the authenticity, what they're really saying to one another is, are you sure you, like, they're almost like pushing against each other. Like, are you sure? Are you sure you want this? Right. But it's the energy of someone saying, like, not only like, yes, because they understand that nudging that they're giving each other is not the nudge of provocation. It's the energetic nudge of protection. Right. It's the nudge of someone saying, like, look, you know, if you don't like what you see here, please stay back respectfully, because this is the energy that is articulating the desire and the prioritization of authenticity. We're going through a Scorpio full moon. They're identifying and recognizing, they're finding the force of their own majesty. Because when we're working in the space of majesty, Taurus is connected to majestic energy. It's not the fact that majesty is perfect. It's majesty that says, I know what I'm carrying. I know how to carry it. I know where I'm going. They're holding the weight. Continuing to clarification, but they're not waiting. They're holding the weight, but they're never waiting. Continuation on Knight of Pentacles in its reversal with the High Priestess in its reversal. Boom, there's that Queen of Pentacles, right? A lot of the energy in separation, healing from the illusion of rejection, right? I told you, always patient, never waiting. Why is the energy in separation saying always patient, never waiting? Because we've got a bunch of Aries energy right now. And this is the thing with Aries energy. There's a misunderstanding that Aries lack patience. It's not that Aries lack patience. They don't show up here with a lot of it. Aries shows up, they got this much patience. They look around, everyone's got all this patience. They go, where'd you get all that patience? And they're like, we came with it. And Aries is like, I had to make this. I had to make that. I found this. Like, this is what I found. And so a lot of the work that Aries comes to learn is working through lessons of Saturn, right? This is why you see the fact that so many Aries, those with Aries placements are always clock obsessed, right? Because here's the thing with Aries placements. This is also why those with Aries placements make fantastic coaches. Aries placements have exceptional patience, but they hate having their time wasted. They have exceptional patience, but there is no greater crime in the Aries book of crimes than to waste time. And the modification point, the determination that those with Aries placements will make as it relates to time is whether they see energetic progress. Because when you have time and progress, right, the sacred breath of being able to articulate a need and have the arrival of that energetic change, that force of change that creates continuous breath of action versus reactivity, right? The progression, the ability to identify and recognize progress. I would not be surprised if this full moon in Scorpio potentially led to a lot of endings in relationality to not seeing energetic progress on things, right? Because it doesn't even, like, is that space of being incremental, right? Like, and this is why I'll tell you, like, Aries, when they see something, this is why it's great coach energy. If Aries sees something that they didn't see before, they'll go, do that again. No, do that again. No, and they'll give someone their patience. Aries will literally start making patience for another person when they see potentiality, but the potential needs to be recognized in the energy. Because this is the energy that says, and this is why Aries says, I can't make you want it, but I will be there if you choose to grab for it, right? So we see even now that there's a lot of that energy that's like there's a lot of that. And that's why I keep on seeing this energy right now. All this Aries energy is having an impact on the energy in separation, because the energy in separation is working through the chariot lessons of the energy coming into divine union, right? The emotions want to lead forward. The emotions want to do it themselves. The emotions want to step in and rush. And what are they doing? They're forcing themselves to stand back. They're holding themselves back because they're trying to make sure and identify the consistency. They're starting to feel that sense of excitement. They're starting to see that potentiality, but they're not trying to get too excited. They're not trying to, they're feeling, I keep on hearing, they're feeling, there's a lot of energy right now in separation, building into new connections, feeling cynically optimistic, which is like, like that space of like holding their breath, but also like identifying and seeing the force of energetic change, because this is the energy that is containing their excitement. They're containing their excitement. This brings us to a lot of the energy right now coming into divine union. And for a lot of the energy coming into divine union right now, can I get clarification between our high priestess in its reversal and the world card in its upright? Highest priority messages, please. 2 cards coming out. What do we got here? Geez Louise. All right, we've got our 4 of Cups in its upright with the Queen of Wands in its reversal. Now, this is really interesting because how do I articulate this right now? So one of the things that we're seeing that's occurring here has to do in relationality to, and this is having a different impact right now on masculine and feminine energy. I'm gonna pull these cards up for a minute so I can show you what's going on with feminine right now, because hold on a minute. We got Queen of Pentacles in its reversal. We got Queen of Wands in its reversal. And then we got like High Priestess in its reversal. Feminine energy's tired, Grandpa. Feminine energy's tired, Grandpa. Feminine energy's about to put her foot down on things. No, I like it. It's okay. We're going to walk through. It's going to be fine. But here's the thing. Like, that's the thing about it. Like, I want to describe this, though. I think that this is important because even with I need to stress this. This is a good thing. Seeing so much of this energy in its reversal all together. because this is an energetic unifying position, because it's a lot of that recognition point that, and we talk about this here, what brings us together is far more important than what tries to tear us apart, right? And so that point, and like, again, and you've often seen this, much of feminine energy going, absolutely not, absolutely not, right? Like identifying the absolutely not. And that's why we talk about here, like, what's the absolutely not? When we're working in the space of divinity, it's the identification point. We've talked about this here, about a good way to tell if you're holding on to something, right? Because it's something that is important, something that brings you closer to the higher self, or something that needs to be let go of, right? Is understanding and being able to articulate on the absolutely not. Because like, because when the ego wants something and you say, why not? It goes, because I don't want it. It's a lot of, it's just working in that space of identifying the space, like that, like understanding that our ego is like, an ego will still stick a stick in the ground and say, here I stand, and be like, why are you standing there? Because I picked it. But why? Because, right? It's a lot of that. It's like the ego always wants to be like, look how strong I am. It's like, look how strong I am. But when we recognize this within ourselves, we all have this capacity. We are all guilty of this, right? It's within each and every one of us. But that's why we inquire upon the place where we hold firm upon, right? Because when we hold firm upon something and we look at ourselves and we say, why are you sticking on that? And you go, because it feels good. Because then you realize, you catch yourself, you're going, I got it, I got to work on that, right? Like you're quite good. Oh yeah, that's something I got to work on. Like there's and not finding a reason. Oh, there it is. It's the ego, right? That's good. When you're in a healing journey, you're glad to notice those moments, right? Because you're like, okay, I got to work on that. But when we hold on to something that is energetically important, right? And we go, why am I holding on to this so much, right? What does the higher self say? Sit down. Let's talk about it. Let me explain to you why. Let me explain to you why something is so energetically important. Let me walk you through. And the higher self says, we will do this. It's okay. Take your time, right? We'll do this forever. We'll do this forever. Like, it's fine. How much time you got, right? That's what the higher self says. How much time you got? Okay. So I see even here with a lot of the feminine energy, this is healing in recognizing and identifying that never does the feminine energy feel more sacred than when feminine energy is able to articulate, like having to come into a space of pulling back and also being honored there, right? This is a lot of the feminine energy that understands and recognizes that love isn't the energy that says, why aren't you giving more? It's the energy that says, like, that comes into the space of saying, of identifying and recognizing and always feeling, right? Always feeling that wish that you could give more, but working through the limitations of the self that says that we need to be intentional because, like that we do what we can. So this is, I keep on seeing, this is a lot of the feminine energy that is healing from the anxiety of people pleasing. It's healing from the space of energetic situations or circumstances that say give and give and give and give. And if you keep anything left for yourself, you are selfish, right? This is the feminine energy that's working through that space of saying that is not the space to be, because that isn't the feminine working at the top at their peak performance. That is the feminine energy working towards things, spreading themselves so thin that they don't have anything that they can't build into their own energetic path work. So that's why I see that a lot of the feminine energy working in that space, what are they articulating and saying to each other? What do you need, right? It's that feeling of being able to be energetically adaptable, but also being conscientious, right? Not feeling that space. I feel like there's a lot of the energy of the feminine working in that space of identifying what feels like the sweet spot in relationality to overgiving or feeling the desire of others to ask too much versus being able to find the strength in articulating what that limitation point is, because never is the feminine energy seen and recognized more than when they articulate their limitations and they're energetically honored there. While for masculine energy, this is again, a lot of this work. I keep on hearing like this is like soul retrieval stuff. Clarification between our Justice card and our Queen of Pentacles in its reversal. Clarification, there it is, King of Pentacles, right? It feels more like a pathwork of reclamation. Because for the pathwork of reclamation for the masculine, if this is masculine that was going through those experiences and someone was saying, you have to be more masculine, you just have to stop feeling. Yeah, I'm sorry, you're going to be a masculine energy. You gotta turn off those emotions, right? This is the masculine that says that that's a falsehood. That's not stoicism. Stoicism is not having feelings. That's a robot, right? That's a stone. That's stone, right? Stoicism is not about becoming stone. It's not about becoming unfeeling. It's not about becoming into a space of just being energetically operational. This is the masculine going through the reclamation point of masculine energy that says that everything that we're given is a gift, including the emotions. And when we're taught to turn off of our feelings instead of work through them, it's a disservice to us because we never learn what to do. Right? We're always running from the feelings because we're trying to like it's like it's a marathon away from the feelings instead of the act of heavy lifting, coming into chariot energy, being able to feel something, to feel the expanse of the emotions, but not feel like you are at the service of the emotions that don't serve you. Because this is the masculine that says, never do I become more protective of myself and my love and the things I care about than when the energy around me knows that I have the capacity to feel the full expansiveness of everything I feel, but not let those emotions destroy everything I love. Because when we don't know how to navigate our emotions, the feelings that we have unleashed will become a force of energetic destruction. But when we're in that space of calibration, being able to feel an expansiveness, to be able to embody and embrace and hold it all, and then still have the strength to move with energetic determination, then we become our integrated self. Because it's allowing for and non-attachment does not mean not feeling. Non-attachment that's disassociation. Non-attachment means being able to embody, to feel all of it, and to stay in a point of stillness to allow one's intention to guide oneself through it. Continuing to get clarification between Queen of Pentacles energy in combination with our Queen of Wands in its reversal and our Four of Cups. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Eight of Cups in its upright. So for a lot of this energy working through this, and this is Saturn on the move, right? This card's been coming up a lot. This and the Seven of Swords, like the Eight of Cups, Seven of Swords right now. This is all about the movement of Saturn. It's not easy. It's navigating the space of change. Things change. Things change. It's hard. It's painful. But again, when things energetically change, you have basically, I keep on hearing, when things energetically change, and I feel like this is the message that Saturn's bringing forth across all of the frequencies. When things change, you have two choices, right? Welcome to Gemini energy. You either sit there and you energetically bemoan the fact that change is occurring, right? And in that moment, that's where we start seeing that bitterness comes in. Or we arrive at the circumstances. We show up, we do our heart opening, which isn't saying, we don't look at the world and say, why is it the way that it is? We say, what do I have to do to change it? What can I do to make something energetically better? What do you energetically need? So I keep on seeing, and this is important because I hear these conversations that are happening right now across all of the frequencies. And for a lot of the energy in separation, this is the disambiguation point, potentially, about having a lot of feelings towards something from the past, but also giving someone the articulation as to why you're not going back there. Because I keep on hearing that there's a lot of that energy that comes into a point of acceptance. And being able to say, look, healthy relationship does not mean that you don't have big feelings about your past. That's concerning. When you're coming into a healthy relationship, you should always have big feelings about your past. But our ability to articulate the meaning of the big feelings that we have, right, doesn't require us to let them go. Doesn't require us to leave them by the wayside. But it's a space of, again, what do we do with big feelings? What do we do with big painful feelings that we identify are unresolved, that we feel like have not reached the fruition point? We work through them. We work to understand them. We work to understand the lessons contained within them. We create altars, right? The altar that acts in service of the self within the self as it relates to experiences and situations that feel like they are unresolved, but then not trying to do everything, like again, not necessarily being in a space of trying to take something, like not trying to turn a rock into a rose, not trying to take something that is clearly what it is and trying to change it into something that clearly does not desire to be, but honoring the space of recognizing what one experienced to act as the energetic lesson that you're able to take into the next journey, to help recognize and identify, to build towards the manifestation of what it is that one's heart truly desires. And that's painful, right? Because manifestation is not about having things. It's about finding things. It's not about getting stuff. It's about learning stuff. So when we come out of that space that we feel like we're klepto, like we stop being so klepto about what it is that we're trying to build towards, right? When we don't say that, this, that, them, this, what, but instead saying, this is what I'm seeking. This is what I hope. This is the experience I hope this is the experience I hope to find. Then we're in that space of being able to navigate. Again, it's not the fact that something doesn't hurt, but going through that difficult process of the gentle release in something that we hoped they expected to find, but determining that it was not the thing that we were energetically looking for. This is how we heal. It's not easy. It's painful, right? A healing journey kind of stinks, but it stinks in the best way possible because in that journey, a healing journey kind of stinks, but it stinks in the best way possible because in that journey of being able to recognize and find those things, it is the energy that says, I let go of the things that don't serve me and I find myself in the process. And that's what's happening for a lot of the energy in separation. And that's not the energy that says, it's fine, I don't care about anything that happened to this point. That's wacky. What? That's the energy that says, no, even in the spaces of intentionality, I still carry big feelings. Let me tell you about them. I'm happy to talk about them. And even if they're not, even if there's something there that I keep on seeing that is too difficult, I can hear the energy that says, that articulates the difference between I'm not ready to talk about it versus I won't. And that brings us to a lot of the energy of the feminine. And here for the feminine, this is the feminine energy working through the same pathwork as masculine. Look how close these counterparts are right now, working through the same lessons, right? You see the yin yang force here. But this is the energy that says to one another, this is the feminine that says that in that desire, right? This is the feminine energy that says, again, for feminine, masculine is going through the pathwork of authenticity, learning how to communicate their manifestations, saying my manifestations will not be rejected to energy that is in alignment to me. My ability to articulate allows the feminine to be able to build with instead of feeling like I'm working around them or taking advantage of them. For feminine, this is feminine that does the work and says, my ability to define and articulate, to find consistency towards masculine, I can't create that in them. I have to observe if it is there. If I don't find a masculine ready to have the same manifestation, it's not about, you're not going to trick someone into it. You're not going to negotiate someone into a manifestation goal. You can't advance someone's maturation process to the experience of wanting the same things that you want. This is a lot of the feminine that's working towards more of the manifestation via the observation, right? Seeing something in masculine that is energetically appealing, but then holding back and saying, are they ready? Are they ready to, they might say that they want something, but do they have the ability to do it? Do they have the ability to show consistency? Are they articulating something just because they're trying to find a means to the end? So there's a lot more of the feminine energy coming into that space or that pathwork of recognizing and working through discernment. So we see even now both of these energies doing the work, the journey of the stoic heart. Masculine, learning to be more authentic and letting go of the illusion of rejection. Feminine, building into the pathwork of discernment, recognizing that in order to find what they're looking for, they have to release what is not that. For energy coming into divine union right now, this is a lot of the same pathwork that we're seeing as it relates to what is being I discovered going to higher ground. So that observation, this is the same energetic lesson that is being recognized, particularly as it relates to the stabilization point of the partnership that the chariot relationships are finding. And this is where some of that trauma is potentially being unlocked or revealed as it relates to something that they could not see before. And it's all coming as a result of being energetically appreciated in a relationship where we feel the point of stabilization that allows one to go into the inner sanctum of the self. But often when you go into the inner sanctum of the self, you find things there that you didn't know were there. Like when you finally go into the inner sanctum of the self, you're like, what the heck is that? And so this is a lot of the energy going into the inner sanctum of the self and being surprised about what they're finding there. The Scorpio full moon. Surprise, surprise. And this brings us to a lot of the energy deep within divine union. And for a lot of the energy deep within divine union right now, I'm just seeing final card for today's spread. Yeah, there's that 9. There's that 9. I like it. There's that 9 of Wands in its reversal. And I got to tell you, this is very much in alignment with the 4 of Swords that we saw in yesterday's reading, right? It's not about, and I keep on hearing for a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, I keep on hearing, I keep on hearing no hard feelings. And why am I hearing no hard feelings? Because hard feelings are the way we hurt ourselves, right? When we work in that space, like when we work into that place of feeling that, like feeling that hardness, right? Sometimes we beat ourselves up over our own feelings. Sometimes we're too hard on ourselves, right? Or sometimes we hold on to something that isn't helping us or doesn't feel like it's energetically serving us. So that's why I keep on seeing that there's something about that space, the temperance energy moving into justice as we start to get closer to Gemini energy, because we've got a lot of energy moving into Gemini season. Like right around Gemini season, we've got a lot of energy also moving into Gemini. It's not so much, I keep on hearing, it's not so much about concentrating or building into the perspective of holding on to something from a place that it feels like it's not serving the self. It's about shifting it into a space that it feels like it is supportive to the self, right? It is identifying what one can do better. It's the adaptability of building into, and I keep on hearing for the energy deep within divine union, the observation of saying like, that's something I need to work on. Right? The ability of saying like, that's something I can do. Like, that's something I can change. What do we need to do? Right? It says to me like there's a lot of that space here because it's the adaptability of looking at situations and not feeling overwhelmed by them, but almost like coming into the space of being expansive in terms of bringing forth what you need, but not overly fixating on things. Right? Because I keep on hearing when we overly fixate on things, we create hard feelings. But when we're in that space of adaptability, it allows for the context of looking at the template of the self and feeling the opportunity of being able to accommodate, to adjust, to make those changes and being proud of those processes. And so I keep on hearing like that's a lot of that work that we're experiencing with the full moon and with Aries and Leo, which has to do with the energy deep within divine union, articulating that the pride that they feel not only for themselves, but in the process that they see in one another's journey, right? Because that ability of recognizing and identifying what that feels like, this is the energy that reminds oneself that says, if you feel like you could be doing more, you'll always feel that way, right? When we're building into the pathwork of patience, it's about understanding and being kind to the self. Though I see to a certain extent, something about that justice energy is also bringing a lot of compassion to situations, particularly and especially as it relates to some kind of point of trauma in feeling like in working into some feeling of not being worthy or not being good enough or like a lot of that, I keep on hearing a lot of that repair as it relates to the ability of being seen and appreciated for what one is trying to do or what one is trying to accomplish. And that's why I keep on hearing for a lot of the energy deep within divine union, that ability, like when we are able to work through something to ourselves and counterpart sees it, it almost like is the expansiveness of pride, because it's like, it's almost like I keep on hearing, it's like, it's beautiful to watch you work, because it's the ability of, again, taking a process that's inside and communicating it on the outside. Heart to throat chakra healing, the same energy we saw coming into divine union that's occurring right now for energy deep within divine union. Bottom of the deck on today's reading, Queen of Cups. Wow. Hold on a minute. We've got Queen of Cups here. We've got Queen of Wands. We've got Queen of Pentacles out. We're only missing one of the queens right now. And I think it's really funny because the whole thing feels very much like Queen of Swords energy. It feels very Queen of Swords. It feels very Queen of Swords. But the thing with the Queen of Swords energy here is, and I need to stress this, like I'm not surprised to see the fact that the Queen of Swords is not out, because it's Queen of Swords in the space of saying no hard feelings. Like that's the thing that's so intriguing about it, because there's something to be said there about the fact that the Queen of Swords isn't present. We've got like all the other queens out, because like I want to describe this. I feel like there's a lot of energy healing from situations or circumstances where someone carried hard feelings. This is what we talk about with trauma, right? We talk about the difficulty of trauma is coming out of it, right? It's feeling energetically safe to do so. And that's why we talk about the fact that like healing trauma is so difficult, because, you know, it's not the fact, like the difficulty with trauma is, and we talk about this with abandonment wounds, like abandonment wounds, we never get rid of abandonment wounds because, you know, much like when a child is young, the desire to scream is what keeps you alive. There comes a time when you learn you have to put the weapon of screaming down, because now it's not providing, it's not saving you, it's debilitating you. It's keeping everybody away from you. It's understanding that the journey of healing is not trying to relinquish trauma entirely. It's understanding what it is that we're letting go of. And that ability of doing so, like I even see, like I feel like there's some energy that's working through some of that reactivity point as it relates to old trauma, saying you're forgiven, like I'm sorry. Like that, sorry, that was that was a little bit of the old environment coming out, right? Like those moments, and I keep on seeing, if you have those moments where you catch yourself, right? The gift is in the accountability. It doesn't require us to be perfect. You know, we all stumble. But the idea, the difficulty, the difference between stumbling and falling is if there's something that used to be our always, and now it's our sometimes, I want you to appreciate how far you've come. I'm going to say that again for those who are working through this. If there's something that used to be your always, and now it's only your sometimes, I want you to build a congratulations to yourself in recognizing how far you've come, because the journey of healing is not about being perfect. It's about being able to chart the progress of your change in positive directions. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and receiving these messages. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can do so on my site. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site. So I would encourage you to do that there. A couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, we have tarot class tonight. I am so excited. If you would like to become a part of tonight's class, all you need to do is head over to my Substack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription is your ticket into our live classes each and every month. We are going to be focusing our studies tonight on the death card. Don't worry, it's not that scary. I'm going to walk you guys through the spread application, symbolism, history, I'm gonna show you how to read that card in any direction it may appear in your own readings, and I'm also gonna give you guys a unique spread to take with you out of that class to help you channel the messages of the death card into your own readings. And all you need to do, if you'd like to become a part of that class program, is mosey on over to my Substack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. You will also, as a monthly subscriber, have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library Archive. Now, it's not necessary to catch up for tonight's class. I do my best in each class to give you guys the fundamentals in terms of what we've studied in the previous classes up until that point. But the material is there for you to receive as you're ready to receive it. And you'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything we have learned or are currently studying. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, you will also have full access to the entirety of the Tarot Church Library. That is access to over 13 hours worth of material in an ever-expanding library. You will also have access to the option of receiving a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, where I will meet with you personally and assess where you are on your personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes to the best of your advantage going forward. One of the things I tried to do in these classes was make them accessible to the absolute novice tarot reader as well as the seasoned reader. There's definitely something there for everyone. Don't let your lack of experience or your robust experience prevent you from joining us in these classes. And even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, be sure to follow me there. I post each day's podcast there with a photo of today's spread if you'd like to see it. I also post there our weekly newsletter, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule and any collaborations I'm doing. You'll also be notified as to any new offerings. I also post my Mystic Meditation articles there, which are updates that let you know about what we've been seeing energetically in article format. I also want to let you guys know that on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my students that are seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal, spiritual, and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent weekly tarot support, I'm very happy to offer you weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to now offer dream interpretation readings. You can purchase these on an individual level per dream or as a series. I would encourage, if you purchase the series package, that you start to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal to utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space, so we can understand the architecture of your dream landscape. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again.